What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 7 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Yuan Bo Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we continue to prosecute the war against the Blessed Dread, who are approaching Blessed Dead status, there we go. And we have managed to destroy both the army at Chimai of Mr. Fellheart himself, as well as another army that dared to attack us here while we were in march stance, though that was probably a good idea on their part, mind you. Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this time around, let's also get you unyielding for all those Jade Warriors that you've got going here. We do have to destroy this army, although by the looks of it, we can auto-resolve it if we want to. I guess the question is, do we trust it? What we are going to definitely fight, I guess, is going to be the battle at Kunlun, and just for the fun of actually sending units up those walls to claim a settlement, as we technically haven't really done that so much in terms of this campaign so far. So yeah, to keep it even, let's do this. Let's auto-resolve you, because let's face it, we already defeated this army previously, and now they're in march stance and don't have any of their melee, so we just rush them, and that'll be just fine. A little bit of damage, but we can deal. Occupied the place, and enemy killed in battle. Great. We're also going to level you up, and ooh, you have leader of men now as well. And oh, we're going to have to pick charge bonus, weapon strength for the army with a significant buff for you, versus making you more tanky, but and also I guess your army slightly more tanky. I feel like considering the sheer, weapon strength plus 60%, you're telling me that, yeah, this makes this lord so much stronger. But I guess because Fervent Questioner is kind of garbage anyway, it doesn't really matter. I think we're still gonna go with Hammer of Wei Jin. Do that. And, well, I guess we could have also gotten the other point in this, but it's fine. Not a big deal. I don't see another army dealing with us in the first place. Then, we are going to build our buildings, and then we're going to go up those walls. Let's go and upgrade Shangwu here to a tier 3. It'll be a commercial district in a few turns. Isle of the Crimson Skull can already be one, mind you. And let's get that lumber mill up and running, and I guess we can keep upgrading the stuff here, and we'll prioritize the port once again. We are also going to, let's see, I mean, I guess if this is going to be a money-making territory, it may as well make money, though we do probably want to get the Celestial Towers pretty much everywhere, because they will provide us with a research rate, and I guess we do want that everywhere. Alchemists we can build, oh, this will also build us Astromancers. I mean, yeah, we could probably sacrifice the 325 gold for it, although it's 325 gold, which is not inconsiderable. How close are we to doing the same at Pahwaks, which is not currently generating a lot of money? Ooh, not that close at all, are we? You know what, let's build this here. I think we can survive without the extra 300 gold per turn. I'd rather have the ability to build Jade and Jet Lines sooner, as well as be able to recruit Astromancers, because we need to send heroes out to several other locations in order to get trade agreements going. Nanchang, looks like you're going to be upgraded next, and what do you provide? A research rate and growth, eh? I think we're actually going to prioritize upgrading Shiama's Rest first, rather than you, and we'll have to replace one of these with pottery, as well as build those standing stones. Imperial Road, there's no point in upgrading Mingzhu since it will be destroyed this turn, and then I guess we'll upgrade you, Hunting Lodge, at Bridge of Heaven. We also want to get Shilong traded to us, but it looks like it's not happening right now. I guess we can just hope that we can confederate these guys instead. And there we go. Anybody else need to move, I guess is the question. You need to recruit, not move. Similar, but not the same. You... I mean, not really the same at all. Well, similar in the sense that we actually need to do something with you. It's just not of the movement variety. Let's get you a couple more Jade Warriors, and I think we can skip any more recruitment of these guys from Global, as it takes too long. I'd really love to get a few more military buildings here, but we're going to have to wait a little while longer. As in, we're trying, but it's taking some time. Anyway, time to attack and destroy the Skaven for good. We won't be able to auto-resolve it, so we're heading up those walls via our siege towers. Here we go.
in the dragon's immortal love.
Alrighty, well, necessary or not, I think a little bit of a siege might be fun. Let's take a look at these Cathay siege towers. I think this might actually be the first time I have ever seen a Cathay siege tower, and I know that the game has been out for a while, but while I haven't played Cathay, I've certainly seen a lot of their armies. I just don't think I've ever gotten sieged by a Cathay army. Huh, or at the very least not by one that had siege towers. They're okay. I'm honestly not big on the design of these particular siege towers. I think they could have done a little bit better. I do love the turtle ram, however. The turtle ram is simple but fantastic. Alrighty. So it's a win and a loss. +1 for the ram, or rather -1, I think, for the towers. I am still very much of the opinion that various factions should have souped-up towers that have the capability of having artillery on the towers as they move forward. I think that's a really big miss in this particular game in general, especially for factions like dwarfs, like lizardmen and chaos dwarfs and whatnot. Definitely factions that would absolutely build siege towers with a bunch of magical nonsense or engineering nonsense all over them. The fact that the towers don't have or various towers don't have flamethrowers at the top to, I don't know, spray or hose down the enemies on the walls right before disgorging their troops is a travesty, and the fact that some of them don't have artillery pieces on them is also a travesty. They could have done more with the towers. Not the first time I'll say it, and not the first time, and not the last time either. Anyway, our towers have disgorged their troops, but looks like the enemy are not doing a particularly good job actually defending the top of those walls for some reason. The gate has also been quickly broken through by our dragon-blooded Shugengen, and ooh, that's going to be a nice warp lightning hit right in the middle of our troops. It's one of the reasons the Skaven are so good on the defense. The warp lightning spam on top of walls, it's so cheap and so effective, causes knockback and armor-piercing damage. You gotta love that spammy little spell. But anyway, a single caster of warp lightnings will probably not be enough here, and I think it actually just killed itself. There it is, the enemy lord is dead. That wasn't me. The enemy lord miscast and died. It had very little HP in the first place, but I do find that hilarious. And more importantly, now we don't even have the warp lightning to worry about, so we're free to fight over the walls as much as we'd like. The ratlings will try to hold here, but with very little armor piercing to their name, they're just not going to be able to deal with our Jade warriors, especially considering we have the towers to get them up there without being exhausted, so that'll work out in our favor as well. And oh, would you look at that? There's some storm vermin with halberds. I was just talking about how the enemies lacked armor piercing, but it does look like they have some here. Oh, and I like how they're defending this little ramp here. Don't see a lot of little ramp defenses on top of the walls. This is something relatively unique, so I'm loving this little defense. I wonder if they get elevation bonuses when they're on a ramp like this. Or does it not? Or is the game not aware of the elevation differences on top of a wall? And it's just like, it's a wall. Alrighty, well, at least these storm vermin are doing a decent job holding. I don't know about the rest of them, as a wall of wind and fire will come down and start ripping through the ranks of enemy ratis. Obviously, it's not a high damaging spell, but it should be damaging enough, at least where the relatively lightly armored rats are concerned. Plus, it's going to move through so many of them. There we go. Alrighty, not too bad in that regard, and it looks like we should be able to break through, at least on this side of the map, or on this side of the gate, and are streaming in directly through the gate as well, with our Dragon-Blooded Shogun right behind our main line of infantry. Another Dragon's Breath gonna come down into the middle of the enemy formation, and I do wonder how much damage we've done with spells so far. 31k, that's pretty respectable, I think. Even though it is probably, at least to some degree, inflated by virtue of whenever you fight the Skaven, all your numbers get inflated, because there's just so many rats, and thus a lot more HP damage to do. Anyway, it looks like the walls are mostly ours. Gotta love the fact that we don't have to worry about those warp lightnings, and we should be able to start getting off the walls in most places and start moving into the enemy settlement from even more directions. Lovely. Looks like also most of the enemy units are no longer fighting around the gate. The Dragon-Blooded Shogun has moved in as well and is fighting some wolf rats here. But even with the relatively low stats of the Dragon-Blooded Lords, 5640 after all, and are only okay, I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, this is just Skaven after all, and there's no Deathmaster Snitch to actually be damaging us here. Alrighty, and more of our units are streaming into the settlement now, chasing those enemies down. And just all you gotta do in early game Cathay, it seems, is just spam Jade Warriors. They're so cheap and so effective. Certainly very similar to dwarfs in that regard, although they're a little bit more quarreler heavy. And we don't yet have shielded Jade Warrior crossbows, although that is coming sooner rather than later. And we'll make use of those against other factions once we push to these guys out of Cathay. And by the looks of it, certainly got to try to build up a couple military provinces, but the lack of growth is certainly slowing down army updates. Not that we really need them at the current time. Anyway, the enemy walls have fallen. The balance of power is about 90% in our favor, and more units are streaming in as well as our reinforcements have arrived. Not that we're going to need them. Even we're able to get a few range units up on top of the walls to fire down and onto the enemy. Although I think the melee units would have been able to clear the enemy just fine without much trouble. Gotta love being able to take the walls and start using your own range units to fire down. Alright, continuing to charge forward. A little bit more action, I think, from the Dragon-Blooded Shogun, but it looks like not that much more, as the enemy army will chain route, and the settlement will be ours. Not too difficult of a siege, certainly, and a decisive victory at that. Alrighty, there we go, not too bad. So fall the last of the clan ESHIN rats. They did manage to bring one of our peasant long spearmen down, and I frankly don't really know exactly what happened to the unit, but I guess it doesn't really matter because it was going to get replaced anyway. We're going to occupy the place, obviously, and then we're going to wait for Vilitch to come along, though we will, I guess, have to be careful about him teleporting on top of and ambushing our army, as I do expect that he'd be better at it than the Skaven are. Certainly a distinct possibility. Also, you. How about joining the war against the Puppets of Mistral? 25,000? That's a little bit surprising. It's surprising because they're in the territory, they hate them, and on top of all that, they have no wars, which generally means the AI would be pretty darn willing, but, oh well, not a big deal. You have a single peasant longbowman, or a long spearman, or rather. We have 2 units left, so I guess we'll just top up a couple of the units of Jade Warriors. Guess we could give them the Jade Warrior crossbows if we really wanted to as well. Kind of just bothers me that there will be 1 Jade Warrior crossbow. Also, you're badly hurt. Let's replace the more hurt units with fresher units instead, like so. And yeah, just take the crossbows, though, you know, we'll replace them later. Anyway, you guys can now no longer move and are just going to have to sit there and... Oh, we have the dormitory here. That's actually nice. So the Jade Dragon's edict for you, and we can immediately start building stuff there. I'm... Well, it's not that we could build that, so I think we still have to go for the growth. Everywhere the growth. Alright, fine. Not a big deal. At least this place is growing quite quickly, so we should be able to deal with that. And oh, you can actually build a couple of those Onyx Crowmen. You know what? We'll build a couple of the Onyx Crowmen and then we'll transfer them to this army just to be able to run stuff down, as it'll certainly be needed for the Jade Warriors. Maybe, in fact, build a bunch of the Onyx Crowmen in that regard. I could even switch to the commandment to get an extra local recruitment capacity, but, well, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. Just to get more Onyx Crowmen on the field in this particular portion of the map. Anyway, there we go. I believe nobody else has to move. No buildings to be built except for Mingzhu, which we are not going to do. Double check diplomacy one more time because it makes me paranoid, and I believe we're good. Alrighty, so Skip's caravan dispatch available. Not Skip. Very much not Skip. Alrighty, so where haven't we sent a caravan yet? We could send you all the way out to Clan Angrand. This army would probably be better off undertaking a journey of that length. Where haven't we been before? Wait, we have... Yeah, we've been to Karazakarak. Wait. Where is this? Oh, wait, this is Clan Angrand, but it isn't really. It's actually the... let's go to Empire, maybe. Oh, 9 turns. Okay, that's a fair distance away. What about... This is a Ruin, but it only takes 6 turns. This is another Kislefite faction. And 9 turns... Oh, this is also Empire. 5 turns. I'm really tempted to do this one again. Although we've gone there once, and I don't remember whether we get the reward again. You know what? Maybe let's do one of the 6 routes. Or should we just do... Yeah, you know what? You know what? Our money is fine now. Let's do Empire then. If our money is fine. It's not like we care that much about it. Dispatch all the way to Empire, please. And oh, we could actually level you up before we go. We could upgrade your cargo capacity, and we could go better sale of cargo. Hidden stores, attrition reduction. You know what? They might be moving through vampiric territories, and that may be a good reason to get that buff up and running, eh? All right. Let's do this. Let's see, is the Will of the Dragons +4 versus +5 from the base thing, and then the Tactician thing. I still think we're probably better off starting to put at least 1 point in all of the blue line, or most of the blue line first. So let's get hidden stores to get that reduction, and then let's get the cargo capacity, and then let's go for... Let's go for sale of cargo. Screw it. I think this army will be fine. I hope I should say that this army will be fine. All the way to the Empire. Increase a dispatch. And away you go, my friend. Alrighty. Vilitch will be up next, but that'll have to be next turn. The building upgrade will skip. We'll end the turn and we'll proceed. Alright, he's going to attack, but we're going to do nothing about it this turn. Lokir will now want to sue for peace, but that's not going to happen. Looks like his admiral is actually going to continue moving northward, which is not quite what I expected. But that's fine. You're going to attack this, and we're going to let it go. You're going to raise it as well, ain't ya? Alrighty, well, now we are going to give you a bit of a follow. And oh, look at that, more Ogre Bulls for the Ogre army. Why the heck not? Settlement raised will follow along in a second. We will also want to get the Grace of Chui Yin, and that'll be a decent amount of upkeep reduction, which I guess we do need. Then you are going to swap out these 2 units, and we're going to get those Onyx Crowmen.
I will make my ancestors proud.
Yeah, something like that. I think the additional melee troops will probably still be of benefit in this early game. Let's move you down here. Is this still our territory? No, it isn't, unfortunately. It doesn't count as our territory. Alright, what about this way? Nope, still no. Well, it's almost at the edge. You know what? Go this way, then. And then you can follow along. We'll see what Vilitch does. I have an inkling that he's going to attack Wei Jin, but I'm reasonably sure that it can hold. Though I suppose we could also delete you. Yishi, keep recruiting. Let's get a couple more Onyx Crowmen in here, and maybe one more Jade War. Oh wait, no, these guys are the unshielded type. Damn. All right, fine. Just keep building Onyx Crowmen. Just to chase units up, plus because I like them. Effective or not, I do like them. They're just so cute. Let's see, you are Jade Dragon, Yuan Bo. You are going to get some skill points applied, and we certainly do want to do that. As for which skill point, maybe we should at least... He already has a basic version of Jade Shield, and well, we do want Net of Ammon talk, although it won't be as useful for his army, because he's not going to be really all that ranged focused as compared to many other armies. We actually want a melee line for him because between all the spell resistances and stuff, we'll be able to drop spells near to us and hopefully not be super concerned. I guess we'll want Blossom Wind because it is a wind. Let's get Power of Yin and let's get Net of Ammon talk nonetheless. I do still think that it'll be a fairly worthwhile addition to our roster of magics. Let's get you Enchanted Metallurgy Flaming because it increases damage by the highest amount, even if this one also increases. Well, it's actually, wait. It's 50% missile, 60% versus... Oh, 25 and 25%, but armor piercing and regular. So it's 50-50, and except this one does additional fire damage. Huh, maybe piercing would actually be better. 23 seconds, and this one's 19 seconds, so it's slightly longer. It's just that the base weapon damage increases and does, yeah, you know what, let's go Enchanted Metallurgy Piercing instead. And then we will pros out. Let's get you increased mobility, actually. There we go. Skeggy will be up next, and I do believe it should be auto-resolvable because there's basically nothing there. And with that, Mazdamundi's faction will be destroyed. Can we see the elves across the sea? No, we cannot, damn. And how? Lots of vampiric corruption. Well, I guess we could always go in and try to help the elves against the vampire coast, which are clearly doing fairly well for them. I also noticed that the wood elves are going to likely be fighting the Kislevites here, but what can you do? Alrighty, well, I think we'll hold off on helping the Kislevites. I don't think they need help. They have 2 full stacks, but who knows, that'll change. At the end of the day, we'll still want to move down here before our special locations are gone. Let's also build the buildings as needed. Forest of the Moon, we'll start with you. Market for you, or caravans for you, rather. And I guess you're gonna need growth as well, so let's do that. And that's about it here. Alright, fine. Not much to do. Alright, Celestial Lake, you're up next. Jianxi. No, you know what? Upgrade the Celestial Monastery first. I think. I want all of these military buildings up and running. We will be making this a military hub. Oh, I guess if we're gonna do that anyway. Oh, we can't declare it one. Changwu has 4 turns until it's declared a commercial district, commercial hub, whatever. Isle of the Crimson Skull, I guess you're up next. Everything else is going to take too long. Alright, just so that we put this on cooldown. Commercial district for you, Isle of the Crimson Skull. And yes. Alright, perform. Lovely, and then we'll do the military district in the other place, and then hopefully we'll just keep on doing this. Beautiful. Campaign... Oh my, this is just a bunch of faction Y buffs now. Well, isn't that lovely? Campaign movement range, all navies. That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Alrighty, let's keep going. You... I guess you can take this. Although, these guys aren't going to be very happy about it. Okay. Are we going to be able to auto-resolve this? I mean, we are. How much damage will we take? Hopefully not a crazy amount. Okay, no, we're okay, we're okay. Alright, let's occupy it. And a Sword Master, which is fine. I am now wondering whether these guys will capitalize on this and try to attack. They are recruiting from the Black Ark after all, so there's a very decent likelihood. But without Loke here, they will probably fail, though Loke here could attack. Or he could come back alive. Alright, sure aim for you. And these guys have just the one settlement remaining, plus the Black Arcs, which will hopefully be goaded into attacking once that's good. You are going to move all the way out here. Let's pop you back into an... Oh, the encamp stance doesn't actually increase your chances to heal or your recruitment... not your recruitment, to your healing capacity. That's okay. We'll head to High Chai next. And... what are you doing again? Oh, right, you're just recruiting. Yeah, let's get a couple of Onyx Crowmen. Just because we don't have too many other options. You at least will be able to get access to Jade and Jet lines for Yuan Bo within the next couple of turns. Alrighty, double check the Diplo.
Yes?
New World colonies want to trade, but we're going to attack them shortly.
Natural.
And these guys all want alliances, but I don't think we want them at the current time because I don't want to weaken them too badly. And Confederation is fine. Okay, skip, and end the turn yet again. Well, at least our money making is getting pretty up there. We also got to try to get a defensive alliance going with Goldtooth because we want access to his units. The only problem there is that as soon as we do, he's going to become weak. So we want to have a presence near to him so that he doesn't die. You want a non-aggression pact? These two don't like each other a crazy amount, but I guess we can do a non-aggression pact for now. As long as they're not taking the stuff we want. Alrighty, and that's it. Faction destroyed. Bloodhall Coven. Oh, interesting. Oh. Hopefully these guys don't take the Great Turtle Isle. We're gonna have to get over there quickly. Alright, Yuan Bo, start moving down. You can't hit Port Reaver, but you're so damaged right now that I'm not sure you'd be able to, because this guy would attack you immediately. I think you're gonna have to take a turn, unfortunate as it may be, to actually heal up, so we shall wait. Okie dokie, what's up next? Oh wait. You're chasing a Vilitch, and hello. He teleported nearby, and it looks like he may be willing to fight. Well, I certainly like that, Vilitch. I certainly like that a lot. You have Unyielding. Range Discipline and Wind Harmony does not help us in this particular situation. Do you have a basic version of Jade Shield? You do indeed. You do indeed. Does Overcast version just increase effect duration? It doesn't actually increase our... doesn't actually... Wait. Duration 11 versus regular spell. Duration 11. And Overcast won't go to area, so that won't matter. Stone Ground Stance I don't really care for, but I guess we can start moving towards the higher stuff in terms of more casting capabilities anyway, because it's not like these guys can really fight, so yeah. Alright, we will attack in a second. I just want to make sure that there are no other attacks. You are nearby. You're really nearby, and oh, this guy's going here. Interesting. These guys have a lot of bonuses when attacking at sea, I would imagine. It's just that we can't see exactly what they are. Let's also attack High Chai, though you won't have Siege Attacker, will you? Yeah, no you won't. Alright, just besiege it and then attack it. Next turn's got basically no defenses, and is their last territory. Okie dokie. You two could probably move to Vilitch together, but I think that we don't do that, because if we do, more likely than not he'll run, and I'd rather he fight.
I demand their death.
And indeed he will fight. Valiant defeat once more. We will certainly have to be careful. Vilitch himself is frightening, and the pink fire spam with 87 winds of magic is quite a lot. We will definitely have to watch out here. The Chaos Warriors will be difficult to bring down because of our lack of armor. Piercing the Doom Knights are most definitely going to be an issue. Let's see how we do.
Cathay prospers always. Today is no different. Fight for order and harmony.
Alright, Cathay prospers always, you say. That's kind of interesting because I think in almost every campaign I'm currently running or have been running in recent times, Cathay have been absolutely obliterated, primarily by the forces of Lokir Felhart. They just seem to get ripped apart by them, and a little bit by the Skaven and by Vilitch as well, but they certainly have not been prospering in most of the campaigns I'm aware of. Anyway, I do think this should be a pretty fun slash difficult fight, as the enemy has all those shielded Tzeentchian units. Vilitch is very difficult to bring down, and as we saw, has plenty of magics available to him. We do have a range superiority, but the enemy is no slouch and has some pink horrors of Tzeentch to fire back in range as well, plus those Doom Knights, which should potentially be very threatening, though I'm still of the opinion that the Doom Knights need, or at least did need, a buff. I don't remember if they got any kind of buffs from any recent patch notes. So just a little bit too weak, even if they are such an awesome looking unit. Definitely one of my favorite looking Chaos units, if nothing else. Anyway, it looks like we're going to enter into something of a range exchange, and I mean something in the sense that while we are firing with our actual range units, the enemy is hitting us back with occasional searing dooms and whatnot. It is holding what is something like high ground here, certainly a little bit of an elevation change, but the enemy pink horrors can't reach us, so it looks like we're still good, at least until the enemy gets sufficiently annoyed to actually move towards us. Fortunately, it looks like they will be able to, or be willing at the very least, to take a few hits here. We're even going to pop a wall of wind and flame, though mostly because it's just taking too long to get the enemy to lose those barriers. Deplete the barriers with the wall, which is a very, very cheap spell, and then continue firing with the rest of the range units. Alright. Yeah, these Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch are going to be certainly an irritant to deal with, between the barrier and that heavy armor, and the fact that our current range units don't do a lot of armor piercing. In fact, basically all of our army doesn't really do armor piercing at the current time. We're going to have to try to damage them as heavily as we can before they move into combat. We're not nearly as concerned about the enemy marauders and such, mostly because, well, we can at least defeat them relatively easily in melee, at least compared to the Chaos Warriors. Anyway, it looks like the enemy has finally gotten sufficiently annoyed. One of the enemy Chaos Warrior units being focused down is down to about a third of its HP, and that's pretty much all in terms of damage. About a quarter, or maybe a third of the HP lost on the one of the units of Forsaken as well, which are also nearly as heavily armored. And gotta love Forsaken. They're a very effective unit for their price. Anyway, looks like the enemy's trying to get around our flank, so 2 units of Chaos Warhounds as well as those Doom Knights. The Pink Horrors have now begun to fire, but it looks like the enemy isn't really doing much to protect this particular flank, which may allow us to move some Jade Warriors around to hit those Pink Horrors as well. It looks like the range exchange is actually still going to continue happening here, surprisingly. I thought the enemy had gotten sufficiently annoyed to directly charge us, but it looks like that's only going to happen now. There we go. Finally, the battle about to be joined. Pink fires coming in. The enemy sorcerer flying overhead on the disc, and it looks like he wants to directly fight our dragon-blooded lord here. That should be a pretty interesting time as well. They're both technically wizards, so who would have the advantage here? I bet we can't steal his Tzeentchian disc as a mount. But I guess it is a demon, so, you know, probably not the best of ideas. Anyway, a Dragon Breath gonna come in to damage a few of those Marauders, though they are not that big of a concern. In the background, the Pink Horrors are being focused down by our range units at this point, mostly because if we were to target the melee troops, we'd be risking more friendly fire. And considering the enemy's Pink Horrors have the elevation advantage, it's probably better to get rid of them first, and then essentially move our range units in 90-degree angles to fire into the flanks / sides of the enemy engaged infantry. Looks like the Pink Horrors are beginning, or at least one of the Pink Horrors is beginning to melt away. We did indeed manage to get one of the Jade Warriors moving around, who are going to directly charge those Sour Guts and the Regiment of Renown of Pink Horrors. And at the very least, they should not have an easy time dealing with the Jade Warriors, I should say. In melee, the range, or our flyers are also flying overhead, but unfortunately this one Crowman got stuck, which means that this unit will repeatedly come back to that unit and is essentially useless for the rest of the battle. We do have another Crowman unit, however, which we can send over here. It was trying to chase off the enemy doggos, but it looks like the doggos simply outrun it. The enemy has also not been getting too much value out of those Doom Knights, just repeatedly charging the Jade Warriors, but by the looks of it, failing to do so. Whether it's because of their armor-piercing damage not being high enough, I don't know, but they're just taking far, far too long to kill them, which does work for us. In the meantime, it's just a matter of trying to hold the main line and out-damaging the enemy. Soon we will have absolute range superiority, which should definitely give us an advantage. Well, I like how they're all fighting amidst the reeds, or whatever the plant growth here is. Alrighty, Chaos Warriors still holding on. I think this... wait, did this unit run out of ammunition? No, I was trying to close the distance. Ah, yes. So, the enemy does still have 2 monstrous infantry units on the field. A spawn of Tzeentch and a regular Chaos spawn, which are doing pretty darn good against the Jade Warriors. Much better than the enemy infantry was, for certain. So, we've turned at least a few of our units of archers or peasant bowmen to target the enemy monstrous infantry, while our Jade Warriors still hold. We do have the advantage here of the enemy being, or suffering from being, large units within the woods, so at least they have some debuffs due to that, but I still doubt that the Jade Warriors will hold against this. One of the few things so far in this campaign that has been really, really tough for the Jade Warriors to deal with. On the bright side, though, while those guys are still fighting, the rest of the enemy army is looking to collapse. One of the enemy Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch is still fighting, but pretty much nobody else other than the elites still are. Chaos Trolls, Doom Knights, the Chaos Spawn, Vilitch himself and his Sorcerer, and then the 2 units of Chaos Warriors. Pretty much as predicted. The elites and the heavily armored, the things that we don't really have specialists at the current time to be able to bring down. Once we start adding crane gunners to armies, as well as artillery and whatnot, it should be a lot less problematic in terms of dealing with these units. Alrighty, plus on the bright side, as more of our units get freed up, we should be able to hit various enemy units from multiple directions, causing various morale hits as well as additional damage. Looks like the trolls have come back, however, and got the same idea by hitting our own Jade Warriors in the back, who have just hit the Tzeentch Warriors in the back, but then we are going to hit the trolls in the back as well, with another unit of Jade Warriors. Alrighty. And it does look like these guys are all willing to fight for quite a while, which I can certainly appreciate. Gotta love these longer battles, especially as it is at least somewhat reminiscent of SFO. Now, it looks like most of our peasant archers have actually completely run out of ammunition, with the exception of this one. One is just staying here and distracting that Chaos Sorcerer. One of the units of Jade Warriors is just distracting Vilitch as well, because otherwise there's nobody to deal with him. Our Dragon-Blooded Shogun has actually moved in and has been attacking one of the units of Chaos Spawn, which is now defeated, and is now going after the remnants of the second unit, as this is going to make it a little bit easier to bring these individual units down. Probably should have actually done that a little bit earlier rather than being distracted by the enemy Sorcerer, but I was kind of hoping, or at least expecting, the Dragon-Blooded Shogun to defeat the Sorcerer in the one-on-one. Alas, it did end up failing. Oh well, and next time we know, go for the monstrous infantry first and ignore the lore dueling. Anyway, looks like the Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch are shaken. They're going to drop another Searing Doom upon us, which I guess is one of the reasons I wanted that Sorcerer out of the picture. But even if we took the regular Sorcerer out, the Vilitch still had his pink fires to rely upon, so it wouldn't have changed all that much, in my opinion. Great job to the Chaos Warriors for holding, though, I gotta say. They have been holding for such a long time. Vilitch still fighting in the middle of all of this and being one of the tankiest lords, that's hardly surprising, but it looks like with that, his army will be finally looking to shatter, and the battle will be ours. Lovely. He is similarly not unbreakable, so he will shatter like the rest of them. There's no way we're chasing down the Doom Knights, as we don't have the capability of doing so. Their speed is also at 105, so they're actually faster than the Onyx Crowmen are, so yeah, nothing we could do there at all. At least without crane gunners or something like that to actually knock them down, and before they can lift off and escape. Anyway, now we're just gonna try to do our best to bring Vilitch down, as well as whatever other elites we can manage. Those Chaos Spawn, luckily for us, are unbreakable, so they fought to the last, but the Trolls are still a target, Vilitch is a target, and the Chaos Warriors as well. Let's just hope they get replaced by Marauders and rather than Chaos Warriors, at least until we get a little bit more in the way of armor piercing on our team here. Though I suppose if we can reclaim the Great Bastion, we simply have the defensive position, so we'll have the advantage in that regard. Plus, we'll prevent Vilitch from destroying the northern provinces if we can manage to seal the breaches in the Bastion. So that'll be nice as well. Anyway, still chasing the enemies around, which is also obviously going to take a while. Vilitch is just, he's just going to take forever to bring down, but that's hardly a surprise either. And it's always been interesting because his stats don't make it seem like he's incredibly tanky, but he really, really is. Alright, 376, 63, come on, you guys, bring him down. The lack of armor piercing on the Jade Warriors is also certainly working against us. We're actually really lucky that the Vilitch didn't have the Severed Claw Aspiring Champions with him, and because those guys are just, well, we would have had absolutely no chance of bringing them down. At the very least, the Doom Knights are reasonably fragile, even if they do have the ability to get away, but the Severed Claw are so tanky that we would have had to ignore them exactly like we did Vilitch. There we go. Finally, he goes down. A Pyrrhic victory, but certainly worth it. Alright, very nice. Once again, faith in those Jade Warriors still being rewarded. Vilitch is gone, though it took absolute ages to bring him down in particular. And most of the elites of his army are destroyed as well, though he did get to keep his Doom Knights and his Sorcerer. Unfortunately, I have been noticing that the Onyx Crowmen do seem to have a tendency to get themselves stuck quite often, as in stuck on nothing, as in stuck on air. And they really need to fix the way that air units get stuck. I've been complaining about this since at least Total Warhammer 2. Probably 1 as well, though my memory does not go back that far. Yeah, the Onyx Crowmen in particular seem to have one unit just sort of get stuck on the ground, in the way that aerial units do have a tendency to get stuck in the first place, but then the problem is the rest of the aerial unit then tries to return to the stuck unit, making that particular entire unit useless. So yeah, unfortunate, as in they can't do anything. But anyway, a Venerate to heal. He's going to run. Unfortunately, we won't be able to chase him down, but fortunately, we don't really care. Melee defense +5, it's a fairly nice defeat trait for Mr. Vilitch, so at least that's good for this particular lord, although it is a caster lord, so it's never going to be all that strong in melee anyway. And a little bit of extra defense is, well, I'll just say it wouldn't go amiss. You are otherwise going to sit right there, and you, I guess, can now follow southward. What's the likelihood the city of Shugengen falls? Probably little, but nonetheless, we're going to move over there. And, oh, of course, of course they instantly took this frickin' city. Ah, you jerks. You jerks. Ah, just so that we can't have the entire thing. It's actually not that much, but they won't do it for money. Would you now be willing to join our fight against the Puppets of Misrule? No, you would not. Weird. Even with the faction pretty much destroyed, well, not the faction destroyed, or with their main army and destroyed, but oh well. Anyway, I believe with that we are out of time, and I am going to have to call the episode here, so that's what I shall do. Next time we attack Hai Chai, and hopefully, over the course of the episode, destroy the Blessed Dread for good, and then begin moving southward towards the Dead Flag Fleet of the Vampire Coast, the Lizardmen of Nakai, and the Spirits of Shanlin, at the same time as moving northward towards the Norskins, the forces of Chaos, and the Chaos Dwarfs, and we'll have to start considering crossing the mountains soon in order to get to Grimgor and to the various enemies out in the Darklands. Plus, once again, we got to build those heroes up so that we can find more allies and get more trade agreements going. 2 more turns until we get Jade and Jet Lions on the field at the very least, so that'll be nice, and we'll have more and more different types of units coming up shortly. Anyway, more Yuan Bo to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments if you've been enjoying. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.